shoulders the muscle that literally makes or breaks a physique. The muscle that makes you look insanely aesthetic in a muscle fit t-shirt. Yet the way it appears is so heavily influenced by genetics, it's actually sad. Having narrow or wide clavicles is 100% genetics, and there's not much you can do to change that. But here's the thing, I'm here to tell you that there still is a few things that you can do to break past that genetic barrier and still obtain a V taper physique. If you follow the exact steps in this video, then you can expect to see some serious changes in the way your physique appears, including looking a lot better in a muscle fit t-shirt, appearing as if you have a very wide frame, and on top of that your physique is made up of great muscle proportions. Since I started gym, I've always been under the assumption that I have been cursed with narrow clavicles. I thought that there is nothing I can do to look like these social media influencers who have these insane proportions and V-taper appearance physiques. This led me to do a ton of research and put in so many hours in the gym. After a while of doing this, I realized that I don't actually have narrow clavicles. My physique proportions were just not good enough for me to be able to look like a Dorito. And that realization changed everything. Like, I mean literally everything. From that day, I completely changed my entire gym routine, including my workouts, sets and reps, and most importantly my split. The three major changes that I will explain in this video very thoroughly helped me blow up my shoulders from what they used to be. And to be completely honest, they are very easy to follow. Let's kickstart the video with what I changed in my training, which in my opinion was the most important aspect of what blew my shoulders up from being virtually non-existent to appearing extremely wide. So what exactly did I change in my training? Frequency. Training my shoulders a minimum of every 3 days. Yes, this sounds like a lot, but it's really not. If your shoulders are a weak point on your physique due to narrow clavicles, then you need to be hitting them more often. By that I mean, if your shoulders have recovered from a previous shoulder workout, hit them again. Shoulders are a very small muscle made up of front, side and rear delt. Now these muscles are relatively smaller than the other muscles on your physique, and they heal incredibly fast compared to the other muscles on your physique. And what we need to do is we need to take advantage of this fact. The fact that they recover so quick, we need to take advantage of that. So the first step you need to take to change your genetic fate is to incorporate this into your split, training shoulders every 3 days. And trust me, 3 days is more than enough for your shoulders to recover and for you to hit them again intensely, obviously taking into consideration that you're sleeping properly and also eating properly. Once you've done that, you need to know which part of the shoulder you need to focus on. Like I mentioned earlier, there's 3 parts of the shoulder, and here is the exact order you need to be hitting them to maximize and widen your frame as much as possible. First on the list is side delts, then it's rear delts, and then it's front delts. Front delts will grow exceptionally faster because you're hitting them on your shoulder days, but you're also hitting them on chest days because when you're pressing, your front delt is heavily involved, especially in the incline movements on chest day, which ultimately means on shoulder day you need to primarily focus on your side delts and rear delts. Second point is what not to train to obtain a V-taper wide frame appearing physique. If you're serious about building a V-taper physique, one that gives the illusion of wide clavicles and a wide frame, broad shoulders, tight waist, then there are certain muscles you actually need to avoid training. Now I know this sounds counterintuitive. Most people think that the key to a great physique is training all your muscles equally, but honestly that's not always the case, especially in this scenario. If your goal is that wide shouldered aesthetic look, then there are actually 2 muscles that can go against your goal. If these 2 muscles are overdeveloped, they can ruin your proportions and work against you. Me personally, I haven't trained these muscles for the past 2 years, and honestly my shoulder to waist ratio has improved drastically over the past 2 years. The upper proportion of my physique now looks exactly how I wanted it to look: aesthetic, athletic, more tapered, and the waist just appears almost non-existent because I've stopped training these 2 muscles. So which 2 muscles am I talking about here? The first one being traps, the enemy of the V-taper. The trapezius or traps muscles sit directly above your shoulders and extend from your neck down to your mid-back. Whilst they are important for overall body strength and posture, they do not at all contribute to a wide appearing physique. In fact, overdeveloped traps can have a devastating effect on your V-taper. Here is why overgrown traps ruin your physique. They create a blocky look. Big traps make your body appear shorter and more compact rather than tall and wide. This gives the appearance of a rectangular physique rather than a V-taper Dorito looking like physique. They also take away shoulder width. What I mean by this is when your traps grow too much, they can visually shrink the appearance of your clavicles. Since the goal is to appear as wide as possible on the upper proportion of your physique, having overdeveloped traps will completely work against you and ruin that goal. In some cases, if your traps are overdeveloped, they can overpower your deltoids, making your shoulders appear even smaller than they probably already are. When I say avoid traps, I mean avoid training traps solely. I mean your traps are involved in numerous movements that you probably do already on other days, so you aren't 100% neglecting them, you're just not focusing on them too much and overdeveloping them to have that negative effect on you. This point does seem strange, but when you put this into effect, you'll see the difference. Remember, this point is solely for individuals who want a wide frame and a small waist, and they want to sacrifice anything to get that. So yeah, stop training traps. The second muscle you need to avoid is the obliques. Obliques are on the side of your abs, and once they're overdeveloped, it will appear as if you have a wide waist. And that again goes against the principle of a V-taper physique. And obviously, if your waist is bigger, then your shoulder to waist ratio will be affected negatively, meaning the upper proportion of your physique will once again appear more narrow, which is exactly what we don't want. This doesn't mean don't train abs, carry on training abs as you normally do, just avoid obliques a little bit. I mean, obliques are involved in numerous movements that you do anyway, so just limit training obliques. If you stop training those two muscles I just mentioned, the traps and the obliques, you will see a significant change in the appearance of your physique. Try it out. The last thing I want to touch up on is diet, because no matter how hard you train, if you are not eating right, you will not see a change in your physique. Your frame, your muscle growth, all comes down to what you fuel your body with. So let's break down exactly how you need to eat to maximize the amount of muscle you put on and why it's so important. Diet is crucial for muscle growth. Like we mentioned at the start of the video, shoulders heal significantly faster than the other muscles on your body, meaning you can train them a lot more frequently, but only if your nutrition supports your recovery. If you're not fueling your body correctly, then you're holding back progress. You're literally nerfing yourself and you won't even realize it. So how do you eat to ensure that your shoulders grow as fast as possible? The most important nutrient that will help blow up your shoulders in the kitchen is your protein. Without enough protein, your muscles simply won't repair after your workout, they won't grow, and you just won't get stronger. It's as simple as that. Modern science today recommends you to at least eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 150 pounds, you need to be eating at least 150 grams of protein. And if you're 180 pounds, for example, you need to be eating 180 grams of protein. It's actually quite simple. Hitting this protein goal ensures that your shoulders are guaranteed to have recovered efficiently, allowing you to just hit them again without stalling your progress. Now, when it comes to nutrients, the second thing I want to talk about is calories. How much calories should you be eating? Now, it all depends whether you're cutting or you're bulking. If you're cutting, I would highly recommend that instead of being in a large caloric deficit, be in a small calorie deficit. It's crucial to keep it small because cutting too aggressively will halt your progress a lot. You won't be able to recover as efficiently, you won't be able to train as hard, you won't be able to push the same weight that you normally do because of that lack of energy due to the large caloric deficit, essentially meaning that you are halting your progress, because the more weight you can push, the more reps you can do, the more potential there is for muscle growth. Staying in a small caloric deficit will ensure that you are still losing weight, your cut is still progressing, but alongside that you are also building a significant amount of muscle. So if you want your shoulders to blow up on a cut, stay away from a large caloric deficit, also known as aggressive cutting. It just doesn't work out. You will not be happy with your end result if you are someone who's going for a V-taper aesthetic physique with wide shoulders and a small waist. Now let's say you're bulking. It's actually a lot easier when you're bulking. All you have to do is just focus on your protein. You're hitting your caloric surplus anyway because you're on a bulk, you're eating more than your body's naturally burning, so just focus on your protein more than anything. At the end of the day, diet is everything and training hard is equally as important, but what you eat determines how fast you recover, how much muscle you put on, and ultimately how aesthetic your physique is. If you are someone who wants a V-taper aesthetic physique with the illusion of a wide frame and small waist, you can't just focus on one thing and ignore the other points I mentioned in this video. They all work hand in hand, they all work in accordance. You have to do them simultaneously all together. Neglecting one will drastically affect your progress in a negative way. If you are someone who's on a cut at the moment and want to blow up your shoulders in the process, check out my program on shinystretch.com that primarily prioritizes the upper proportion of the physique to ensure you get the best results at the end of your cut. Likewise, if you're someone on a bulk, I've just released a lean bulk program that makes sure that you put on a ton of muscle in the right places to make sure you can look sick in that muscle fit t-shirt for summer 2025. So commit to the process, lock in, give it your full dedication, and trust me, your results will be insane. If you found this video helpful, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one.